Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
It is a Business Focus right here on Capital. You're also free to contribute to Business Focus with your comments, questions, or compliments as well on 0719-100404. As always with Kudzi Sharara. Good morning to you, Kudzi. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Kudzi. Let's begin by rewinding to yesterday, Monday, the 16th of June, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and the VFX trading updates.
Thank you, Tinashe. So we start with the VFX, which was positive by a margin of 0.29% gain. This was on the back of gains in Axia, First Capital Bank, Insco, Abenga, and Zimplao. Only Simbisa closed in the downside, shedding 1.23%. And then looking at the ZSP, the all-share index was also positive with a 0.22% gain, while the top 10 index put on 0.31%. So we continue to see those marginal gains, and we continue to see that sideways trading on the ZSP. But FML was the top riser there with an 8.75% gain, followed by OK Zimbabwe, up by 7.13% as we continue to await information with regards the $30 million fundraising or capital raising by OK Zimbabwe as they look to recapitalize the business, which has been facing restocking challenges. And then also positive was Ariston, up by 2.43%. That's Ariston there, as the group also continues to face financial viability challenges. One analyst pointed out that the company is technically insolvent, and so that's Ariston there. And then EcoCash also putting on 0.87%, and then Pro Plastics adding another 0.52%. On the downside, the biggest loser was Green Papers, down by 14.62%. This one is an interesting one. At some point, Green Papers was the top riser of the year. I think at some point it was up by 100%. But now, year to date, it's only up by 8%. So it has been significant reversal of the gains that it had recorded earlier in the year. That's Green Papers, which is also going under its own digital transformation and reconfiguration of how the business is run, especially in terms of news gathering and publishing. There's been a lot of changes that are taking place there, which will result we'll be looking forward to in the coming months and years in terms of whether they would have also managed to transform the digitalization transformation into money, because monetization of online platforms is proving to be a challenge, not only for Green Papers but across the world, as especially the print media struggles with the new digital era, where news is shared on social media platforms, online platforms. But that's Green Papers there. VAT also coming off by 5.76%. The last numbers from VAT also showing that the volumes for cigarette consumption for this particular group, I'm not sure whether it is the widespread thing in Zimbabwe that volumes for cigarettes are coming off, but for VAT they are significantly coming off, probably due to competition or maybe illicit cigarette, as they want to call it. But the company also seems to be struggling in terms of volumes, or maybe just an economic challenges that their consumers are facing and scaling down on cigarette consumption, or maybe people are just health conscious and are reducing their intake of cigarettes, or maybe competition from other forms of smoking that we are now seeing within the society. Then Tanganda also coming off by 4.26%. That's Tanganda. The Nampec also down by 2.78%. And then Masimba Construction also coming off by 1.14%. Recently, I think the last numbers or information that was shared by Masimba, it showed that they were pivoting towards example, construction of moving away from construction of national projects such as roads, dams, and stuff, but towards other sectors in the construction sector, especially as government seems to have scaled down a bit in terms of infrastructure development when it comes to roads, when it comes to dams. It's not as fast and as we saw as 2 or 3 years ago, where so much money from the national budget was channeled towards infrastructure development. So it affects those in the construction sector, such as Masimba Construction. So those are the top risers and fallers on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Investors putting more money into NMB, about 11 million big going into NMB. Econet getting about 8 million. The counter, we know Econet, I think yesterday they actually issued an apology to their stakeholders, partners and subscribers because of the challenges that the company faced, I think from Friday and over the weekend, where connectivity was an issue. And I think yesterday, the company's deputy CEO, Roy Manikire, issued a statement just apologizing to stakeholders in terms of the challenges that the group faced in terms of providing connectivity. So those are the counters, and that traded yesterday, and probably a little bit of information with regards why they could be in that situation.
All right, Takudzi, thank you so much for that. 14 minutes before 8 is our time. It's Business Focus. Kudzi, maybe you can help us unpack another Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe statement that was issued. What is it all about?
Thank you, Tinashe. So, whilst the one that we analyzed yesterday was a statement by the governor, this one is the Monetary Policy Committee resolution. So these are resolutions of the Monetary Policy Committee, which, if I'm not mistaken, they sit 4 times a year, if I'm not mistaken. But this one is the meeting that was held on the 16th of June, which is basically yesterday. So the Monetary Policy Committee met and reviewed the monetary environment and the policies that are in place, and also just looking at how the economy is performing. And according to this assessment, the central bank is saying that despite the uncertainty external environment, the domestic economy continues to be resilient and is projected to grow by 6% in 2025. And this is underpinned, obviously, by recovery in the maize and cotton industry, whilst other sectors are also expected to record a positive growth. 6%, that's what was projected by the finance minister, I think, back when he announced his 2025 national budget. Whether that 6% will be achieved, the jury is still out there, especially given what we have. I think agriculture, there's been that recovery, no doubt, in terms of maize production. Tobacco is set to beat the previous records, and cotton also more than the harvest will be more than what was harvested the previous season. But maybe other sectors, manufacturing and the retail and wholesale sector, where unless it's just a shift of in terms of how business is conducted, where we have seen retailers, big retailers, wholesalers closing shops, unless there is a shift to the tuck shops, then maybe the growth, the 6% growth would be achieved. But also within the business community, they've been talking about for example, if you want to borrow in US dollars, the interest rates are very high, probably 15% and above if you want to borrow in US dollars, because most of the money that is being lent by banks is money that they're getting from offshore. They're getting offshore, and that money is lending in Zimbabwe at probably 11%. And obviously with the charges and the markups and whatever, it gets to almost like 15%. So that money is obviously expensive for some businesses, and they might decide not to borrow and just operate as they are, and obviously that means that the economy is not oiled enough. Yes, the Reserve Bank has been able to increase, and according to this statement, that facility, the targeted finance facility, is obviously providing market liquidity in terms of for the productive sector, especially in terms of the big. And so far, the total amount that has been dispersed is about 392 million, which roughly probably is about 10 million in ESD. No, I'm not sure if I'm getting my math right there, but just doing a rough calculation there just to see how much is it in US dollar terms. Yeah, so roughly about $15 million that has been provided to the productive sector by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Whether that is enough to oil the economy, I'm not sure, but obviously ZiG is a currency that was barely used in 2024, maybe when it was introduced in the local currency was barely used when it was introduced in April, and there's been some improvement in terms of the amount of ZiG that is in circulation, and hopefully with this targeted finance facility, hopefully we'll continue to see the economy being oiled as it were. So the Reserve Bank is actually encouraging all the productive sectors, including agriculture, to take advantage of the facility because it has got lower interest rates. So at the moment, the bank rate, which the Monetary Policy Committee did not change, left as it were, is at 35%, which means that banks will charge you anything above that. And but this facility is at a lower interest rate. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the minimum is, I think the banks are getting it about 20%, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's cheap money that the productive sector should take advantage of. And then the MPC also noted the sustained stability in the exchange rate and inflation during the quarter under review, the second quarter of 2025. And I think everybody can see that. We are no longer asking each other, where's the rate every day. We are no longer seeing price increases. Inflation is actually almost about 1% month on month, and both in although the year-on-year inflation for USD is around 14%, but month on month both inflation rates are below 1%, which is a good thing. So that stability is well noted, and kudos to the Reserve Bank because of the policies that they've put in place. They've managed to keep the economy stable in terms of prices and the exchange rate. Whatever, however, still needs to be worked on is probably in terms of making sure that the economy is well oiled. I'm not sure whether maybe it's still okay to keep the interest rate, bank policy rate at 35%, probably up to the end of the year, so that we this stability is ingrained in us, and we continue with that stability. Even when they then decide to maybe reduce them, even the statutory reserves, which were kept again, the Monetary Policy Committee decided to keep them where they were at 15% and 20%, and 15% and 30% rather. I think it's still a good thing until maybe we get to the end of the year enjoying this kind of stability. So I think that's the Monetary Policy Committee statement, which decided to maintain the bank policy rate at 35% and to maintain the current statutory reserve requirements for savings and time deposits for both local and foreign currency at 15%, and for demand and call deposits at 30%. So I think that's the trajectory is what we are going to expect. And then there was a small change in terms of what they call the non-negotiable certificates of deposits. So when, for example, a bank has got excess money, that money goes to the Reserve Bank as part of its open market operations. But in terms of the tenures, the period in which this money will be locked, the RBZ says with effect from May 2025, 27 May 2025, the maturity brackets of 7, 14, and 21 days were discontinued, and any excess balances now have a fixed tenure of 30 days. So if your money was going to be logged in under the NNCDs for 7 days or 14 days or 21 days, that has since been discontinued. That money will be logged for 30 days. And then the central bank also goes on to say that early terminations of the NNCDs are only permissible for settling government tax payment payovers and purchasing foreign exchange from the Reserve Bank. So if you've got your money logged in the NNCDs, if you want to buy foreign currency, you are allowed to get earlier access, earlier than the 30 days. If you want to pay your taxes, for example, you want to pay to ZIMRA or whatever form of tax you want to pay, you are also allowed to access the money that is logged under the NNCDs and be able to do those two particular transactions. So that tenure has been moved on to 30 days. We'll get some reaction from the market and see how the market will react to that change. So I think basically that's yesterday, and hopefully we'll continue on that stable price and exchange rate stability.
All right, great, Kudzi. Just a quick short break, and when we come back, I've got a question that's on WhatsApp. The Just Run Half Marathon is happening on July the 12th, 2025 at ZB Sports Club, starting at 6 a.m. sharp. Participants can compete in 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, and 21 kilometer races with cash prizes ranging from $60 to $400. The registration fee is $20, and the runners of all ages, juniors, seniors, and veterans are welcome to join. The event is powered by Just Property, Cardens Athletic Club, and Capitalk 100.4 FM. For more information, call on 0773 364 614. 0773 364 614. 4 minutes before, make it 3 minutes before the news at 8. Kudzi, there's a question on WhatsApp who says, tibatsireiwo nhai mukoma Kudzi kuti nhau yema-point of sale machines takambonzwa ichinzi it's now compulsory on all businesses, asi tiri kungoenda mumatuckshop kana mamwe mashop mahombe unongosvika zvichinzi hatina swipe machine, saka ucompulsory hwacho huri papi?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's a follow-up that we need to do with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. I know the governor sometimes listens to Business Focus. Yesterday he was listening. So hopefully he's listening, or his lieutenants are listening, and we'll be making a follow-up in terms of where are we with regards the point of sale machines as announced in the monetary policy statement. So yeah, I think it would encourage wider use of this league. Why? Because if especially now that the physical signals are scarcity, I think if all economic agencies are to use point of sale machines, then I think it will also encourage wider acceptance of the SIG. I think it will also then encourage those who are unbanked. There are so many businesses that are operating there that do not have these point of sale machines, and one wonders whether they actually have bank accounts. So proper bank accounts. So I think if they start having point of sale machines, it means they'll have to have a bank account. So we'll make a follow-up with the responsible authorities in terms of where are we with regards to that. I think another follow-up is with ZIMRA also to say what was announced in the 2025 national budget in terms of the powers that ZIMRA was given by government. Where are we in terms of implementation? And I think the Commissioner General owes us a response. There was a question that was posed on Business Focus, which I forwarded to her and the ZIMRA communications executive had promised that they will be fed to us shortly. I know they will be listening, so please reply to us. I think the question was, could you provide an update on the effectiveness of the statutory instrument regarding penalties for businesses that fail to provide proof of duty payment for imported goods? So again, that one is pending. So hopefully we'll get those two responses from the responsible authorities with regards to the point of sale machines and also a follow-up on Zimba in terms of how they are implementing the 2025 national budget, some of the measures that were put in place.
All right, Kudzi, thank you so much. Well said for today on Business Focus. We'll discuss more tomorrow. Have yourself a great Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Tinash.
Business Focus with Kudzi Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.